a event. That means this is having a login event actually. When user clicks login inside the child component, we need to send this data to the parent. So that parent will verify the user ID password and gets the user ID password confirmed, and it will put that username here. Username will be displayed if it is successful. Now, here important is this component button, login button, have a click event. The login button is having a click event. On click event, it should send the value. Send the value. Now, when you are designing any particular component by yourself, now this component that you are designing, that component can have its own event, its own event. Just like you can say that a component is like a user defined control. It's like a user defined control. That means you created your own control. Like button, like text box, you created your own control. That control is accessed in the page and it will have its own events. On that event, that control will perform the functionality. That means every component that you design is just like a user control. User control. I think, for example, in HTML, we have a file upload control. We have a file upload control. If you have observed that file upload control, actually a file upload control that you generally see is actually a complex component. Actually, it's a component. So because you carefully observe that file upload control is having a text box and it is having a browse button, that means button is a control, text box is a control, but now these two are combined and designed as a component. Now as a component, now on browse button click, you can select any file from your computer. That file name will come here. The file name will come here. It will be displayed inside the text box. So that means file upload is actually not an control. File upload is a component technically. It is having a combination of button and text box with some predefined functionality. That means this component is having its own event, and that event is nothing but browse click. On browse click, it will manipulate the file explorer. It will allow you to select the files from your machine and it will upload into the server. Now the point is, we are also designing the same here. We are creating our own components and we are accessing and using those components here. That is a component hierarchy. So if you can design your own component, you must be able to design your own event for that component, because every component have its own functionalities, events. Later in real world development process, lot of components are ready-made provided to you. You have to just inject them and use them in your project. Several third parties also there. If you have attended our workshop Sunday that we conducted, there I explained some components like calendar, I explained some components like autocomplete. Those are all ready-made components which we inject into our application. We don't design them. So we have several third parties also. In real-time projects, even Angular material is also not enough. Later here also, in this session also, I will show you Angular material, an overview. But if you have attended that session, you have a complete clarity on that. So actually, so when you go to that Angular, so Angular material, so that is material. This is Angular material. This is just like your Bootstrap. You see components, there is components category. When I go to components, so many components are there. Suppose date picker, this is a date picker component. I click here, date picker will come. I can select the date. So now I want this in my project. Then I don't need to design everything. I need to just bring this library, inject into my project. And our project will have a date picker. This is what we discussed in the workshop actually. On Sunday, we learned this, how to handle this. In our class, towards the end, I will show you an overview about this also, right? The point is, these are all predefined components and having their own events. Now we are going to design such things for us. Remember, not only these components, actually, we have several third parties also. That means many people ask, for Angular, we have only Angular material. No, not just Angular material, you have so many. Several third parties are there. Another third party, I think you might have heard about Telerik. Telerik is another popular third party. This is Telerik. It is very popular but it is a paid source. Telerik is a paid source. And it is very popular, and you can observe that. You can see these are the customers of Telerik. You can observe that NASA is a customer of Telerik. NASA is a customer of Telerik means Telerik is providing software support for NASA-like people. And see, Microsoft is a customer of Telerik. Microsoft itself is a very big software production, right? And it is a customer of Telerik. That means Telerik is providing software support for them in various libraries and components. Then you can imagine the ability of this Telerik. And obviously, so when you go to demos, Telerik provides support for all technologies like Java, .NET, PHP, Python, JSP, ASP. You can see it is providing Angular also. I selected Angular demos. Left side, you can see Angular demos. I click Angular demos. You can see for Angular, they provided several components. Suppose you are designing an application, you need a barcode reader, you need a QR code generator, you need charts, graphs, animations, effects, and all are provided. You can see these are all the components which you don't have in Angular directly. You need to depend on third parties. So then you can see Angular material have provided a calendar. And these Telerik people also provided a calendar here. You can see the Telerik people have calendar. This is the calendar of Telerik. This is the calendar of Telerik. And all the features, but these are paid sources. You have to buy. Your companies will buy this repository. You need to come here and explore and understand how to implement. If you know Angular material, this is also similar. I will tell you how we can use them. Then you can make the presentations more better. And obviously, if these components are designed, when they are designed and you are using these components in your components, then you will have a lot of input